Today, let's turn back the clock to January 25th, 1890. On this day, a remarkable woman stepped off a special train in New York City, completing a journey that would cement her name in history. That woman was Nellie Bly, and she had just circumnavigated the globe in a record-breaking 72 days, 6 hours, 11 minutes, and 14 seconds. Imagine the scene. Cannons booming, crowds roaring, a whole city celebrating her return. She hadn't just traveled around the world. She had beaten the fictional record of Phileas Fogg from Jules Verne's famous novel. Around the world in 80 days. And she did it all with just one small travel bag. But who was Nellie Bly, really? Her name wasn't even Nellie Bly. She was born Elizabeth Cochran in 1864 in a small Pennsylvania town. From a young age, she was fiery and determined. Her journey into journalism started with a letter. An angry, passionate letter to the editor of the Pittsburgh Dispatch, criticizing a deeply sexist article titled, "What Girls Are Good For." The editor, impressed by her bold writing, offered her a job, but there was a catch. In the 1880s, female journalists were expected to write about society, fashion, and gardening, the so-called women's pages. Elizabeth, however, had other plans. She adopted the pen name Nellie Bly and immediately started pushing boundaries, writing about the harsh realities faced by female factory workers and the struggles of the working poor. Her ambition, however, was bigger than Pittsburgh. She wanted to be on the front page, and for that, she needed to be in New York City, the heart of the newspaper world. So she packed her bags and headed to the big city. But breaking into the New York scene was tough. After months of rejections, she boldly walked into the offices of Joseph Pulitzer's New York World, one of the most sensational newspapers of its time. She didn't just ask for a job. She pitched an idea so daring it was almost unbelievable. She proposed to go undercover, feign insanity, and get herself committed to the notorious Blackwell's Island Insane Asylum to expose the horrific conditions inside. Think about the courage that took. In 1887, asylums were places of absolute terror, especially for women. Once you were in, getting out was nearly impossible, yet Nellie was undeterred. She practiced looking insane in front of a mirror, checked into a women's boarding house, and began acting erratically. She refused to sleep, ranted about lost trunks, and appeared terrified of the other boarders. It worked. The police were called. Doctors declared her positively demented, and a judge committed her to Blackwell's Island. What she found inside was a nightmare far worse than she could have imagined. Her Exposé, later published as the book 10 Days in a Madhouse, revealed a world of shocking abuse and neglect. The food was inedible spoiled meat, stale bread, and dirty water. The nurses were cruel and violent, choking, beating, and tormenting patients. The asylum was freezing cold, unsanitary, and overcrowded. Patients were forced into ice-cold baths, with the same dirty water used for everyone. But perhaps the most shocking discovery was that many of the women were insane at all. Some were simply poor immigrants who couldn't speak English, or women who had been committed by their husbands for disagreeing with them. They were sane women trapped in a living hell. After 10 days, as prearranged with her newspaper, a lawyer from the World secured her release. When her story broke, it caused a massive public outcry. The city was horrified. Nellie Bly became an overnight sensation, a hero who had risked her own sanity to give a voice to the voiceless. Her investigation led to a grand jury inquiry, significant reforms, and a massive increase in funding for patient care in asylums. She proved that journalism could be a powerful force for social change, but Nellie wasn't one to rest on her laurels. Her next big idea was even more audacious. Inspired by Jules Verne's novel, she proposed to the New York World that she could beat Phileas Fogg's 80-day trip around the world. Her editors were skeptical at first. A woman traveling alone around the entire globe? It seemed impossible. They even considered sending a man instead, but Nellie's determination won them over. So on November 14, 1889, with a small travel bag containing little more than a few changes of clothes, some toiletries, and a sturdy coat, she set sail from Hoboken, New Jersey. Her journey was a race against time, a whirlwind of steamships, trains, rickshaws, and sampans. She wasn't a tourist. She was a reporter on a mission. From England, she sent her first dispatch via transatlantic cable. In France, she had a delightful and unexpected meeting with Jules Verne himself, the author who had inspired her quest. He wished her well, encouraging her to beat his character's record. She traveled through the Suez Canal, visited a leper colony in China, and marveled at the sights of Japan. All along the way, she filed stories describing the people she met and the cultures she experienced. The New York World turned her trip into a national event. They published daily updates, ran a guessing game where readers could predict her exact return time for a chance to win a trip to Europe, and plastered her face on billboards and advertisements. Nellie Bly wasn't just a reporter anymore. She was a global celebrity. Her journey wasn't without its challenges. She battled seasickness on rough waters and faced unexpected delays. The final leg of her journey was a frantic dash across the Pacific and then across the entire United States. The world chartered a special one-car train to race her from San Francisco to New York, clearing the tracks and setting speed records along the way. And then came that triumphant day, January 25th, 1890, 72 days after she left. Arrived back in New York to a hero's welcome. She had done it. She had circled the globe and shattered the record, proving that a woman could be just as adventurous, brave, and capable as any man. Her journey was a powerful symbol of the new woman emerging at the end of the 19th century, independent, intelligent, and unafraid to take on the world. Nellie Bly's life didn't stop there. She continued her trailblazing career, covering strikes, interviewing famous figures, and even becoming a war correspondent during World War I. She also became an inventor and a successful businesswoman. But it is for her two most famous feats, going undercover in the madhouse and racing around the world, that we remember her most. She was more than just a journalist. She was an adventurer, a crusader, and an inspiration. She showed the world the power of a single, determined person to expose injustice and achieve the seemingly impossible. Nellie Bly wasn't just reporting the news, she was making it. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about incredible people from history. See you next time.